Hey saddle hunters, thanks for tuning in to watch another video on the Saddle Hunting channel here on YouTube. This is an exciting time of year because companies are releasing products left and right, and the saddle world is no different. Over the course of the next month here, I'm going to be debuting to you and demonstrating at least 3 brand new 2021 saddles. So I'm really excited about that. Today we're starting off with a saddle from Tactisaddle. Some of you have probably never heard of Tactisaddle, but Tactisaddle's been around for a lot of years, a lot longer than some of the other saddle manufacturers that are more well known. It's a company from Michigan and it's owned by John Tucker, and John makes completely custom saddles. So everyone that comes out of his shop is sewn by hand by him and custom made to your specifications. So that's a really cool deal. Last year, John released the Tactisaddle ADAPT, which was a really neat saddle. It's probably the most unique saddle on the market, and you'll understand that in a minute when I show it to you more in depth. But this year, he's bringing 2 brand new saddles to the market, and both of them are based off of the original Tactisaddle ADAPT. He has the Tactisaddle ADAPT DSS, which stands for dual seat strap, and he has the ADAPT DBDS, dual back, dual seat. So essentially he's taken the ADAPT saddle and added an extra strap either underneath the seat portion of the saddle or one underneath the seat and one in the back. What I'm going to show you guys today is the ADAPT DSS. So this is the model with the dual seat straps, and you can see that there. You've got the strap that goes kind of along your waist, and then 2 that can position underneath your butt or on the top of your thighs, wherever you want them. So as you can see, this is a unique saddle. There's no real body to it, so to speak. There's no mesh and there's no cordura. It's just simply webbing, which makes it one of the most unique saddles on the market. So we're going to start off. I'm going to take this inside. We're going to show you guys a tabletop review of it, talk you through a lot of its features, and then we're going to bring it back outside here, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how to use this saddle in the tree and give you some of my thoughts on it. So let's jump into it. So we're inside now. I've got the Tactisaddle ADAPT DSS right here. I'm going to lay it out on the table and walk you guys through how it's designed and point out some of its unique features. All right, so as we lay out the ADAPT DSS here, you can see where the saddle gets its name. It has 3 main straps which make up the frame of the saddle. You have the top waist strap and then the dual seat straps. And so essentially the dual seat straps come together, they're separate, and then they join up at the bridge loop and wrap up, and the other half of the bridge loop is composed of the top strap. So the unique thing about the ADAPT saddle is that it uses the leg straps to manage this bottom strap. So you can see the leg straps attach right here at the top of the waistband, and then the bottom just slides up and down that strap, and you use that to separate them. And so your bottom straps are always very neatly contained and separated, and you got infinite amounts of adjustability. You can just slide them wherever you want them. All right, so that's basically how that functions. Really a good design. When you're walking in, you just slide it all the way up, and it keeps it up high on your hips, out of the way, nothing, dangling below you. This is a saddle you can strap on and hardly even know it's there. Let's talk a little bit more about the construction of the saddle. You'll see that there's molly webbing along the waistband here that then becomes the lineman loops. The lineman loops have a really bright orange kind of thread down the middle, and then there's some reflective thread on either side of that shows up really, really good with a flashlight. And then that simply comes onto the top of the dual seat strap and is sewn on, and there you have 3 sections of molly on both sides to attach pouches if you wish. So that's kind of a nice feature. I know there are a lot of guys out there that like a lower section of molly. The molly is sewed flat, but it's not really tight, so it's plenty loose. I would say, in my opinion, it's almost too loose. I prefer to use those tethered pouches with the tri-glides, and they have slipped out of there on more than one occasion on not long walks. So I wish that those are a little bit tighter, or that I think the bigger issue is that the stitching here is a little bit farther apart than you see on other saddles, and so you just have a wide hole for that tri-glide to slip out of. So if you're using a snap style clasp, I don't think that would be an issue. But the lineman loops are pretty stiff, they're reinforced, and you can see you have that orange and reflective threading on both sides. I should mention before I go any further that this saddle is made right here in Michigan, so American made product, handcrafted, custom made, one at a time, built to your body and your size by John Tucker. So that's a fantastic feature. One of the other unique things that John is doing that no other saddle manufacturers are doing is on his bridge loops here. On the bridge loops, there's this kind of gray section that goes down the middle, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. It seems like some sort of a silicone, but it's basically a rubber, and it's pretty grippy. And the function of that is to help grab on this adjustable webbing bridge. So the webbing bridge is girth hitched on both sides, and so you can adjust it up and down the bridge loop in any position you want. You can cinch it down up high, you can, pull from the middle, down low. And that really does a lot to give you good comfort. But those silicone silicone channels, I guess, really help it to grab. And so once it starts to seat, it grabs and it doesn't go anywhere. So those work really, really well. I wouldn't say that they stop every single movement, but they do a good job of keeping you in the position you want to be in. So it's a little bit about the bridge loop. Let's finish talking about the bridge itself. This is a webbing bridge, girth hitched on both sides. Slightly different type of girth hitch. This side I've noticed does not adjust as easily, and I think that's just because on this side there's 3 pieces of webbing that make up that section, so there's a little bit more stitching down here at the bottom, but you can see that it still slides up and down the bridge loop fairly easily, and then just cinches down and stays right in place. He has a unique tri-glide adjust system on this bridge, which makes it super fast and easy to adjust. So there's a loop that comes out from the bottom there and loops through that center kind of bar of the tri-glide, and then all you got to do to adjust it is pull on this orange tab. So you can pull the orange tab and it takes slack up, and so if you want to shorten it, then you just got to pull that slack through the tri-glide, and that's not going anywhere. That's totally firm at that point. If you want to lengthen it, you just pull it and you rock it out. Pull it, rock it out. And when you have the saddle on, this goes really, really fast. So excellent, excellent design there with the adjustment on the bridge, in my opinion. Let's flip over the saddle and look at the front. Not a whole lot more to show you, but there is one more unique feature I wanted to point out. John has what's become a very common buckle. We've seen this on a number of other saddles. Works well, very firm adjustments, tightens down, nice thick webbing for the belt loop. It doesn't slip out of the buckle at all, which I really, really like. He has webbing keepers both on the leg straps and on the waist belt, just to kind of handle your tag ends. So that's an excellent feature. But what's unique about this belt is that it's not sewn to the body of the saddle. I'm going to show this to you. It just slides through there, okay? So you can adjust it to wherever you would like it. It's just got these loops, and they're solid, they're not stretchy, that are wrapped around the belt and that waist belt in various intervals across the top of the saddle here to attach the waist belt to that upper strap. And then you can see there's also loops where your leg loops attach. These are G hooks. They adjust very, very easily. Really good G hooks. They seem to work good. He's got nice tight closures so they're not slipping out on you. And they've got a good little hook on the end of the G hook there. They seem to work really, really well. The downside, I would say, of not having the belt attached to the upper strap is that when you put a pouch on here, you'll tend to get a little pull away. It will kind of sag like that, and I'll show you this when I put it on. Not that it goes anywhere, but you get a tiny bit of sag in the side of this upper waistband. But that's the construction of the Tactisaddle ADAPT DSS. A lot of adjustment. Let me give you a few specifications here now to wrap up the indoor portion of the review. So to wrap up the indoor portion of the review of the Tactisaddle ADAPT DSS, I just wanted to give you a few specs. Now keep in mind, this is a custom built saddle. Mine is built for a 33-inch waist, and so if your weight is going to vary a little bit depending on how big you are, but probably not by much more than a few ounces here or there. But this one comes in at 1 pound 10 ounces, which makes it one of the lightest saddles that I've ever used. And to give you an idea of the frame, from bridge loop to bridge loop, it's about 36 inches. And the bridge, which should be the same size for everybody, it goes from 7.5 inches out to about 32 inches. So a lot of adjustment there. This is certainly a saddle for the minimalist. If you're a kind of guy that likes to just scout your way in, you're not sure whether you're going to hunt the ground or you're going to get up in a tree, and you just don't want to carry a ton of extra weight, this would be a saddle to consider. When you put it on, you hardly even know it's there. It wears high and it carries weight well on the waistband, which some other minimalist saddles don't do. So that's an advantage. But let me get it outside. We'll put it on the tree and I'll talk you through kind of how to use the saddle when you're getting set up with it. So I'm climbed up into the tree here, and I've got the Tactisaddle ADAPT DSS on, and I want to show you guys a little bit about how to use it. One thing I've noticed about this saddle is that in order to get comfort, you have to not be afraid to play around with things like tether height, with bridge height, and different positions like that. You got to play with it until you get it right, and it might take you a couple of sessions of 30 minutes or more in your yard to get it right, but you can dial in decent comfort with this saddle. So let me show you first how I have found it to be comfortable for leaning. One of the things I've realized with leaning is that it's helpful for me to have a lower tether than I would with a lot of other saddles. So here I've got my tether and it's probably just about shoulder height, might be slightly above shoulder height. That for me has provided a good angle to work with. And I like to keep the bridge all the way out. So all I'm going to do is give it a little bit of extra length on the waist belt, and I want this top strap to run just above my iliac crest, which is the top rounded piece of your hip bone right here on the side. You can feel that point. So I like the top strap to be right above there. And then I take those bottom two straps and I slide them down. And guys, panel management in this saddle is really easy because they slide on those leg straps. So I like to just slide those down so that they're kind of just below my crack or the bottom of my butt into my upper thighs, okay? And then lean back into it. And as far as the placement of the bridge on the bridge loops, this is also another very important feature in this saddle for comfort. So where I like them for leaning is probably just about 1.5 inches, 2 inches from the top of that black right there. So come about 2 inches down on both sides, and they're just girth hitched, so they're easy enough to move. And that's about how I like the pressure. The other thing you want to be careful of is to make sure that these bottom two straps are not running directly over your hip joint. So you've got your hip joint kind of right in there, and you can feel it. If those straps are running over top of your hip bones, like if they were right there, you'll get more hip pinch. So if you keep the top strap above your iliac crest and the bottom one on kind of onto your upper thighs, you can lean very comfortably in this saddle, even though it's pretty minimalistic, okay? So you can see it gets set, and that's pretty comfortable. I could lean in this for quite a while. And I've noticed too that when I take a little bit of length out, I feel a little bit more pressure, I guess you would say, but it's not bad. And this bridge, because he's got this little loop right here, is really easy to adjust. So let me show you this. Take pressure off of it. I'm just gonna pull on that loop, and it pulls it through that tri-glide. Hopefully you can see that. and then I grab the back side of it and I pull it out of that tri-glide. And I'll give you a zoomed in view of this. But that's all there is to taking a little bit out. And now I can feel the pressure in these bottom straps a little bit more with that shorter bridge. So right there, I'm fairly comfortable. But you gotta play around with it and get the adjustments right on this saddle. But you can get there. I think you could comfortably lean like this for quite a long time. The thing I like about this setup is that the bridge is pretty low, so I've got a ton of mobility to move around and to pivot for a shot without being impeded by the bridge. So that's pretty nice. Now, sitting is, I found to be a little bit more difficult in this saddle than some other ones. John sits in it in a very unique way, and I want to show you guys how he recommends sitting in the saddle. So once again, I found taking the bridge length out all the way is really easy to do and beneficial for sitting. So keep the top waist strap where you've got it. Instead of coming down, and give it a little extra tether, instead of coming down and sitting like this, which you could do, keeping the straps kind of on your upper thighs there, this is not bad. And I sat like this for quite an extended period of time the other day. And as long as the angle of the tree I found is not too goofy, this is fairly comfortable. I like to have a little bit more of the pressure into those bottom straps rather than the back ones. So I'm gonna move these down more into the middle and sit into it. And with more pressure under that bottom strap, this is really not bad, okay? But what John recommends and how he does it is he takes those two bottom straps and he moves them up a little bit higher so that they're basically right underneath his butt. And then he puts a pad on the tree and he sits like this with his hip to the tree. And I've tried that and it's not bad. It's nice to sit like this and change it up for a little while at the very least, but you don't have any knee pressure this way. You can feel the straps for quite a bit. There's a pretty good amount of pressure. It's not uncomfortable pressure, but you can just feel it. It's a localized pressure, I guess I would say. Personally, I think putting them right underneath your butt, spreading them out just a few inches between the two of them and sitting like this is what I found to be the most comfortable way to sit in this saddle. You want to make sure that when you sit that your leg straps are fairly loose, otherwise they'll kind of bunch up and pull on you in the front and nobody likes that. So loosen those babies up a little bit and it's not bad. Now this saddle, in my opinion, I haven't found it to be easy comfort. You know, there's some saddles that you can sit in like the Cruiser XC. You sit down, pressure's very evenly distributed. There's not a whole lot of fiddle factor, in my opinion, to get comfort in that saddle. But this is more of a minimalistic saddle, and I don't think it's designed for easy comfort. So don't be afraid to play around with it, try to get comfortable. I think that this is a good option for guys who want to be as low profile, as streamlined, as minimal as possible. But the trade-off is it's got a little bit of a learning curve, okay? Your body's gonna kind of have to get used to it. John told me he sits in the saddle 12, 14-hour days and hunts over 250 hours a season out of it. So it's totally possible to be comfortable in this for a long time. If you get the saddle and you find, hey, I want a little bit more support, John offers a cushioning or a padding kit, and so you can buy that padding and kind of pad the straps wherever you're feeling a little bit of pressure. Personally, I think that it's just takes a couple sits for your body to get used to the pressure and you'll be just fine. So I hope that's helpful. I'm going to give you guys a couple more thoughts here and we'll wrap it up. So what do I think of the Tactisaddle ADAPT DSS? I was really excited to get this saddle from John and to try it out. I've been kind of eyeing up Tactisaddle saddles for a long time just because they are so unique, and I'm impressed with this saddle. It's American made, it's very well built. You can tell that he's put a lot of thought and effort into designing this. There's a lot of adjustability in this saddle. Tons of bridge length adjustment, which adjusts very easily with this tri-glide setup that he's got. It's adjustable on both sides of the bridge loops here, which in my opinion is the most important adjustment that you can make as far as the comfort on the saddle. And I really like that about it. The fact that you can adjust not only one of these straps, but two straps and position them independently in a variety of positions, from your, all the way in your mid thigh up to your lower back, is really, really nice. You can change the pressure very easily. So when you're sitting there and it's getting to be, I'm feeling a little pressure, a quick adjustment with either the bridge or those straps, and you can totally change how this saddle feels. And to me, that's the key to using this saddle, is to not be afraid to make minor adjustments throughout your hunt to shift the pressure and get comfort in it. And so I think that this is a really good option for the guy who wants a minimalistic saddle. The nice thing about this is because it's all straps, it folds up pretty compactly and tightly, so you can very easily put that in a dump pouch and store it in your bag. So that's super nice. A lot of saddles won't get that small, and it doesn't weigh much, which is really, really nice. The molly webbing and the stitching is just fantastic. At the end of the day, this is not going to be easy comfort like you'll find in some other saddles, but for the guy who wants decent comfort in a minimalistic package, I don't think you can go wrong with the Tactisaddle, especially if you're a leaner. To me, where the rubber meets the road is when you sit, and there's a lot better options for sitting than this in my experience, in my opinion. But if you're just a leaner, there's nothing wrong with this saddle. I think it leans just great. And so don't be afraid to support John, a local small business from right here in Michigan, and try out the Tactisaddle ADAPT DSS or the DBDS. So once again, thanks for watching the Saddle Hunting Channel here on YouTube, and stay tuned for next week when we're going to debut a brand new saddle to you from Cruiser. We're going to be looking at the Cruiser Archon next week. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.